I just pressed the record button, so I will record this and I'll put it on my website if you'd like to rewatch the website or rewatch the recording from my website. I'll give you that information. So just very quickly, just to go through, there's sometimes we have people on RPR who really don't know a lot about RPR. Maybe you're new in the business, and I always try to avoid, as a technology speaker, that terminology called the curse of knowledge, and it's we can all be guilty of that when we're working with buyers and sellers, and we start freely talking about all this real estate terminology, and we take for granted that the knowledge we have about a subject can sometimes be a curse on us, and we can be talking about something that's totally over someone's head. So, what is RPR? Well, RPR it's owned by the National Association of Realtors, and it's exclusively for you and I as members of the National Association of Realtors. And there's no additional fee or charge to use this. You are paying for it with your dues that you pay as when you belong to the National Association of Realtors. And so it's included with our dues dollars, and you really should be using it because it is a very, very interesting, cool tool that can help you close more transactions. Now, again, as you can see, that last bullet point says there's no consumer or public access. This is strictly a database for you and I. And when I say a database, it's part of this whole big data thing that we hear about. I mean, there are over 350 pieces of data that get funneled into RPR that we can use in some very interesting and creative ways. So RPR is this database. It puts all of the information inside of the database, properties that you and I come in contact with daily, some properties that have never, ever been listed in our MLS, but yet we have access to them in RPR. So strictly for you and I as realtors, no public access, and yes, there's no additional charge. So you should be thinking about using it. So today I have one more small bullet point or one more slide after this that says, let's get started. But this is basically the last PowerPoint I'll show you, and then we'll get right into RPR. I'm going to show you how to research a neighborhood and generate a neighborhood report. I'm going to show you how to create a school report, and then we're going to look at a couple of other one-page reports and really just some ways that we can prepare and get ready for an open house. It's a short webinar. It only lasts about 30 minutes, plus or minus, and so we are going to get started in RPR right now. So I'm going to drop the PowerPoint and we're going to get right into RPR. Now, this is not a basic webinar on RPR, so I'm not going to kind of go in and show you how to set up your account. But when you log into RPR, you're going to see the same screen that I have. If you're brand new to RPR and you need some help, you can always come down to the live call button down below, right down here, the live chat. And these folks are really great. They're here 24/7, 365 days a year. They're located in Omaha, Nebraska, and they can help you get started with using the mobile app or anything that you may have questions for regarding RPR. So I logged into RPR, and you'll see it's branded with my logo, with my company logo. If you are seeing your board logo or your MLS logo, tell your broker they can brand this with your specific company logo. It's free of charge, and it'll look much nicer when you're sitting down with buyers and sellers and going through some of these reports, especially at an open house. So let's just kind of walk through this scenario, and let's pretend that we're preparing for an open house and we're trying to get familiar with the neighborhood. After all, we want to answer as many questions as we can that come up about our specific neighborhood. And even I live in a small rural area in Farmington, Missouri. When I hold open houses, a lot of times people who visit the open house are in from out of town and they're looking for properties and they don't know a lot about Farmington. So this is a great opportunity for me to showcase my knowledge and my expertise as a real estate professional by having some additional collateral and information that I can share with them and also be more knowledgeable about the market area in general. Now, I know a lot of times as a broker and a manager and as a team leader of a bunch of folks who worked for me, I used to remind my agents all the time that it's important that you know a lot about the local market, know what's going on. People want to ask you and I questions. And if we don't have that information, it really kind of lowers maybe what, how we might look or how we may be perceived in the eyes of the person who's asking us questions. If someone asks you information about the average sales price or just the market in general, and you are able to talk about days on market or the average sales price or whether the market's going up or down over the last month or the last year, wow, does that make an impact? And that's what this can do for you, not only for an open house, but just in general as people begin to talk and ask you questions about your local market area. So we're going to hold this open house. We want to have some great information that we can pass out to people. We want to look professional and we want people to say, you know what? I want to work with that lady because she is sharp and she knows the market, and she just seems like she would be a great agent to have on our side. So the first thing we really want to do is we want to select what's called a neighborhood report. So actually, I'm going to back up. The first thing we want to do is pull up the property that we're going to hold open. So I'm going to go to the for sale button. And what's really great about RPR is the fact that I can just put in the street numbers, as you can see here. And so I have 2814. And if I continue to drill down, notice that RPR is looking through the database and it's matching existing listings that are for sale. So as I continue to go through this, I could literally find the property that I'm looking for. So once I find that property, I pull it up, and here it is right here. We're going to use this property in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have our list price. We have the RVM, which is a realtor's valuation model. We talk about that in some of the other webinars. And by the way, where I will post this webinar, I have lots of other great RPR webinars I've performed and done there, so you can watch any of those that you'd like. So here's the property. I can see that we've got some photos of the property right here. It looks like they got a big office area they had inside an upstairs room, which is kind of cool. I would like that. And so we've got lots of pictures. We have lots of information. Naturally, we can go in and look at what's going on in the market in the subdivision near our subject property. So here's our subject property. We might want to look just to see, are there any other properties for sale? It doesn't look like it, at least in this general area. We can always zoom out a little bit so we can take a look and see if there's any other properties that are for sale. But we have this ability to go in and really take a look at what's happening in the local subdivision or market area. There's a couple of other really cool maps down here that we can look at too. One of my favorites is this 12-month change in estimated value. Now, as you can see, other properties have populated. So here's our subject property in gold right here. And it looks like there's a couple of properties for sale down the street. Here's one that must be, those are recently sold. Pardon me, the green is recently sold. And blue, if there were any in blue, they would be properties that are existing and for sale at this point. So we've got lots of solds, but gosh, it doesn't look like there's much for sale. Kind of the same scenario we're playing out in the Midwest right now. Lack of good inventory. A lot of people are afraid to put their houses on the market because they're worried they won't be able to find something else to purchase. So we also have this ability. I was showing you some heat maps. If we wanted to see, for example, what's going on in the marketplace, I can change this to a 12-month change in estimated value, and I can see the prices are kind of going down. If it's in red, they're going up if it's in blue. So it looks like things are kind of stable in this area. If we go over a few streets back in this subdivision, looks like prices have fallen. Not far from here, there's a real good increase in value. And of course, we can find all of that information right here. So I just wanted to point out there's some very cool heat overlay maps. We call those overlay or heat overlay maps, and they give you some really good information that you may want to take to your open house. So I'm going to go back to the smaller map. And the first item of business that I want to take care of is I want to create a neighborhood report for this property because I'm holding this open, remember? So I'm going to come down here below. And as I look, notice I have the ability, there's a little hyperlink right here. I will blow that up a little bit so you can see it, but I can select more about this neighborhood. And when I select more about this neighborhood, I actually pull up the neighborhood portion of RPR. And remember, I said there are over 350 pieces of information funneled into RPR. Well, right here, you're going to see lots of data and information. People want to know, what's the population of children by age group? I have that right here. I can also break other population numbers down. I can move over to the next tab and I can look at housing information. So now I'm able to talk about housing. I can actually go in, and I'm going to just make this a little larger so you can see it. But right here, I can show that property values are actually going up in Phoenix at 5.4% over the last 12 months, which is in line with the county and Arizona, which is up almost 6.1%. I can see what's taken place in the last 1 month, the list price change over the last 12 months. I can find out here that 53% of the homeowners own property and 47% rent. Now, there's a really cool, and I just like to always show some interesting things you can do with some of this data. And there's a really cool tool from a company called TechSmith, TechSmith. I want to show you this. I do not make any money off these companies. I use a product that they have called Snagit, and it's really great for RPR. It's Snagit, it's right here. I also have Camtasia if you wanted to do this in a video format that was a little interesting. But let me show you what I can do with Snagit. So here I am on this screen right here, and I may have to open up Snagit because I think I restarted my computer. So I'm with Snagit, it actually takes a screenshot of my computer screen and it lets me choose what area of the computer I want to take the screenshot. So if I do a Command P or Control P, I can actually come up here and I can snag a part of this report right here. And now I can take this report and I could share this on my Facebook business page. I could share it on Twitter by tweeting it. I could make an Instagram post. But now I'm able to share with my social networks some really cool information of what's going on in my marketplace. In fact, there's tons of data here that RPR provides us that we could literally share or tweet about throughout the whole month because all of these numbers get updated, or many of them do, every 30 days. So all of these numbers will probably change from day to day. Now look, I can move over to the next tab and I have people. If you want to know how many people vote Republican or Democrat in your marketplace, it's right here. And some of you may say, well, John, where do they get that data? Everything's footnoted in RPR. So anytime you see numbers or charts or graphs, RPR is telling you where they get the data and how often the data is updated. This data right here on voting and occupational changes are updated annually. Some information, like housing statistics and other information, will be updated monthly. Some could be quarterly. Now I can go over and look at the economy, and I can even look at the quality of life. So if I want to know how many annual days of snowfall my county has, I have that information. How many full days of sun, I have that information. And again, everything is footnoted in RPR so that you know where you're getting that information. So there's some really great tools that you can get through RPR, through the neighborhood report. Now I'm going to jump over here and show you something that I've done with my market reports. This is my website, Mayfield Real Estate. If I go to market reports and I go to Farmington Market Report, I actually took this RPR report and I created this into what is called a digital flipping magazine, a flip magazine. So it's actually a digital magazine that you can flip through and look at. And you can also share now this information on Facebook, on LinkedIn, which don't neglect LinkedIn. That's a huge social network, and a lot of executives love this kind of information that you can share. But I can share this, and when consumers look at it on my social media website, they're actually coming. I'm driving them to my website, so now they can look around, hopefully, at other properties and contact me about doing business with them. And again, this is a little magazine. I created this using a product called Flip Builder, but I have some other really cool tools that are free that I've helped other NAR participants in my RPR classes. I'm always here to help you out. So I'll give you my email address, but I want you to feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I like to use technology to really showcase and help me raise my level of marketing expertise above my competitors. I want my sellers to know I can do creative things, and I want buyers to know that I'm a little tech savvy. And I want to utilize resources like RPR and just flip it a little bit to be really cool and interesting so people can find out some other creative ways they can use RPR. So you definitely want to go up and you want to create this neighborhood report. And by the way, once we go to the neighborhood, once we get this neighborhood data and we've looked at all of this, we want to go up to reports, and then we want to select neighborhood report right down here, and then just run that report. Now, what's really cool about this is that we can download this report to a Dropbox or to our computer and even to our phone or tablet. And now we'll have access to this. So when we're in the field, we can send this to someone or pull it up on our computer and let somebody look at it right on site and even share that market report or neighborhood report with them. So step number one, think about creating a neighborhood report, get familiar with the neighborhood, and show consumers a little bit of what's going on and showcase your expertise as a real estate professional by your knowledge of the area. And trust me, when you get to know the area, when you know the numbers in your marketplace, when people ask you, how's the real estate market, rather than just saying, oh, the market's great or it's unbelievable. My friend Kim Darty, instructor in St. Louis, used to always say, regardless if the market's bad or good, when somebody asks you how the market is, just say unbelievable, right? If it's really bad, it's unbelievable, but you're not sounding bad. But here's the thing that I think Kim and others taught me years ago, and hopefully I passed on to my agents and I'm passing on to you today. People want to do business with people who are knowledgeable, who are movers and shakers. And when somebody asks you how the market is, and you're able to quickly say, the market's doing great. Actually, our home prices in our county are up 6% over the last 12 months. In fact, the average sales price in our county is $244,000, and it's up 6%. And you say, the median list price is $295,000. And you can talk about the fact that actually in Phoenix, the average median home value is 215,000, but in our county it's 244,000. By the way, this is in Scottsdale, so it should be up a little bit more. But boy, when you can talk about and pull some of these numbers out and show people what's going on, it really makes people look at you in a whole different light. And it also helps you as you begin to talk about and negotiate with buyers, sellers, and other agents in your marketplace, because you have a knowledge and now know more than anyone else what's happening in your marketplace. So the second question a lot of people probably want to know, at least in bigger markets. Now I'm in a small rural area. We just have one high school and one middle school and one elementary school. So we only have one school, but a lot of times people want to know about the school districts, and especially if they're new to the area. Well, in RPR, when I'm on this property that we were on earlier, if I come down here to the bottom toward the right, I can actually find out about the schools in the area. So if they said, we really want our child to go to Desert Cove Elementary School, by selecting Desert Cove Elementary School, I immediately can pull up the Desert Cove Elementary School information from Great Schools. This is included with RPR. Now, you can create a school report, by the way, just like I did, and put on your website. You can also email this report or the neighborhood report to the prospective purchasers or consumers who come to your open house. But I can look at reviews from the school. I can also go back and look at the test scores for some of the information from this school. And if this is the area they want to look in, I can even go and search for properties from this school district. So the school report and a neighborhood report are going to be two really cool reports that you can provide. Now, in some areas, I want to kind of point this out because I think this is a really cool feature, and it's not part of this open house program, but I see it happen a lot as a real estate professional. You might have, at least in our area, a lot of the folks that I will meet at open houses who are coming in from out of the area and relocating are doctors or people who work at one of our hospitals or at one of our big employers in the area. And sometimes they have to live within a certain distance or time period from within the hospital. Well, if I go to the bigger map, you will notice up here at the top, I have the ability to search by distance or drive time. So if I can find the hospital, now in this case, this is the subject property, but just keep in mind, let's just say we're going to zoom out on the map and we want to find where's the hospital this doctor works at. Well, here it is right here, we'll say, and this doctor informs you that he or she have to be within 15 minutes of the hospital on weekends, Saturday. We can drill this down by date, time. So I'm going to apply this at Saturday, 8 a.m., and now we can find out if that property is actually in that drive time zone that's required. I can also do the same thing by distance. So if I say, here's the hospital, and they have to be within 5 miles of the hospital, boom, that house falls outside of the range. Well, that's okay. I can come over here and I can search for listings that might fall within that specific radius. And that's one of the things you have to remember. And I know there are many people on the call that I'm not telling you anything new. I'm just sharing with you over my 39 years of experience as a real estate professional. A lot of times people who came through my open house did not purchase the house I held open. In fact, I'm thinking of some folks right now and an elderly couple that came through one of my open houses in a condominium complex. And They did not buy that condominium that they looked at my open house. But what did I get by them visiting my open house? I made a contact with a good lead. I found out what they were looking for, and I was able to go out, search, find a property they wanted, and sold them that property. Plus, I listed their house and sold it. So, I mean, that's what open houses are all about. And I just wanted to show you that feature because a lot of times you're going to have people come to your open house, and you're going to the open house is about meeting them, getting to know them, showcasing your professionalism, your skills, and then being able to find exactly what they're looking for. And so going into the bigger map and searching by drive time or distance for those potential buyers who have that need or requirement is really a cool feature you can do. Sometimes I do a lot of training down in Springfield, Missouri. There's a big university there. Sometimes parents come in for open houses, and they want to find a house that's within a certain walking distance. Well, guess what? I can select anywhere on the map. So I'm going to go to distance, select. Notice this was the ideal distance. Here's 5 miles, but I was thinking that was on walking, but it's on drive time. So I'll go back and select that. But here they want to travel by walking, and they want to be within a 15-minute radius of the college campus. Well, you can do that with RPR as well. So we've been able to create a neighborhood report. We've been able to go in and look at school reports, which is also an important thing. The other thing you want to do for your open house is you want to be able to create some collateral that you can have at the open house, or some takeaways to give folks. So let's just go back to this property we were on. I'm going to go scroll back over here. Got a bunch of tabs open, but this is the property I want. And I'm going to go up here to create a report. And the first thing I might want to do is create a flyer, property flyer. Now, I did not show you earlier, but I'm going to kind of back up, and I want to point something out that's a brand new feature that we've added to RPR that I think you'll like. This is a cool feature because I can actually pick out the picture that I want on the cover of my flyer. So if I think, I really want to get a shot of the swimming pool, I can pick that. I'm only able to pick one because we're doing the property flyer. And now I can choose what elements I want to put on the property flyer, and I can come down here and I can put a headline. In fact, I need to put a headline. So I'm going to type a headline in, new heated swimming pool. I'm a creative speller. I did author 7 real estate books, but I'm drawing a mind blank there on typing. So I can type a headline. I can customize this information. If I want to customize that, I can do that as well. And then I can suppress the year bill tax amount. If I want to keep that off of the property, I can do that. And then I just come right down here, and I'm going to display in a PDF. So I'll run the report right there. Now, RPR will generate this report, and it will let me know when it's finished or completed, and then I can pull it up and download the report. So I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to come back up here, and this time I want to actually create a mini property report, because we may want to create a mini property report that we can take to the open house. So here's some more information. I can choose, fix any of that I want, customize the information, and run the report. Now, you're going to find a really cool feature, and I didn't point this out with the neighborhood report or the school report, but you can do this right here as well with the mini report. So you'll get this dialog box, and we can download the report. But I'm going to jump back over here where I was. Notice right here it says Manage Custom Pages. If I select Manage Custom Pages, I can actually add any custom pages that I've created or that my company provides into or inside my RPR reports. This is a brand new feature we just added within the last couple of months. But what's really cool about this is now I can include any additional reports that I might have on my computer that my broker's given me or that I've created. And so here's a report. I'm going to just pull this report here. This is a flyer from a webinar I did earlier today with a lady but I can add this report and it's going to upload this report and put this right inside the report. And then I can say, I want this at the beginning or the end of the report, and RPR will package all of this up. So if I want to view this page, I can view the page. It will pull up the page. My friend who did an international webinar for me today, I do a lot of international business, and this lady did a marvelous job on she works with helping international buyers and sellers with their financing needs, but I can include that flyer right inside my report. And if I want to change these around or delete, I can get rid of them at any time. So here I would add or save, I'll save that report, but do not forget you have the ability to add custom pages. Here's what I want you to know. There are some really great flyers, reports, information. Here's the seller's report. I got a listing yesterday, and I used RPR, and I take my iPad. I use an iPad Pro. I take it with me on my listing presentations, and I go through. I pull it up, and I bring it up in a little app called Notability that I absolutely love. And now it's in a PDF format that I can write on. And I can go through my comps and my charts, the things I want to cover during my presentation, and I can highlight and write and make notes and emphasize key points because I want them to know I'm doing my homework and I'm really trying to narrow in on why I think they need to price it at this price. And then I email them that report. Well, I want to tell you what, this seller's report's about 85 pages. Now, some of you may say, John Mayfield, there's no way I'm giving an 85 page or printing an 85 page report out. I'm not printing an 85 page report out either. I'm emailing it to them, and if they want to print it out, they can. But here's what it does for me. When my competition takes out 2 or 3 little pages from the MLS, here's some comps. Here's my 3 pages of comps. And they look at my 85 page report with graphs and heat overlays and all kinds of data and things that I've written or typed in. They're going to choose you every time because you're going to upstage your competition by using a very unique, detailed report like RPR. So print out some of these reports, have them available for consumers. More specifically, rather than printing out a bunch of stuff that you give, I would just generate the reports. They're now on my computer. I can pull them up at any time. So, let me go to this. Here's my 2 reports. I'm going to pull this up. This is my computer. Refreshes the page. So here's my report right here. I'm going to download this report, and it's going to pull up on my computer. And now, quite frankly, I'm just going to save this into my Dropbox. And Dropbox is just a cloud sharing program, or I could save it in iCloud. But here's this report. And so I can click File, export the PDF. I always just print. I'm on a MacBook, and it works easier for me to just save the PDF, just like this. So now I'm just going to come over here, and I'm going to save it in my Dropbox, and I'm going to give the property address as the name, and I may even add a new folder with that property address. And now I've created this report, this folder, and I'm going to dump all of my reports right in there. And then when a consumer comes out to my open house, guess what? I've got all that information right available on my smartphone. And here's the other cool thing that I want to show you. And we're just about wrapped up, and I'll see if there's any specific questions you might have. What's really cool, if you haven't downloaded the mobile app, is I'm going to bring this up. Let me get rid of my GoToWebinar. So I'm gonna bring this up on my phone, and so I'm gonna do air mirroring John's MacBook Pro, and so here we are. So now I'm gonna go into RPR right there, and what I want to show you is everything's mirrored and synced with your mobile devices. So now when you're out at the open house, rather than taking all of that printed material, you could take one of each or take a couple. But as people come to your open house, all you have to say is, hey, I have a neighborhood report, or I have this report. I'll be glad to send it to you. And if I go right down here to recent, so I'm going to select recent. Look at this. I have all of my searches, all of my properties, and there's the property we were just looking at right there. But if I go up to reports, I can pull up reports. Here's the property flyer. So if someone is there at the open house and they want the flyer and I've run out, I can either text message it to them. I could email it to them. Believe it or not, a lot of times if they have an iPhone, their phone pops up and I just send it to them via AirDrop right there. So there's lots of cool things. Here's the neighborhood report. I can hit share, and I can again share that in a multitude of different ways with the consumer. So here's the takeaway for our session today. Look professional at your next open house. You've got some great tools available. You can learn about the neighborhood. You can learn about the school. You can learn about what's going on in the subdivision and the market area. You can be prepared to answer questions and to find additional properties to help match their needs so that you can enter into a buyer's agency agreement with those potential buyers. And who knows, just like I did with my little folks that came through my open house, you might not only sell them another property, but you could possibly list their property if it's in the same town as yours. And if it's not, guess what? You can send a referral, right? So it's a great tool. I hope that this has been helpful for you. I want you to know that I love RPR. I use it all the time as a real estate professional. There are just some great tools. I want to close very quickly by showing you that if you go all the way to the bottom and you select blog right here, by the way, if you don't have the app on your phone, you are missing out on one of the I use the app every day. It rocks. It's a great app. It's available for iPhone and Android. Come down here to the bottom, hit blog. And when you go out to blog, you're going to actually find that you can go into industry specific. So if you go into residential, we've got tons of information. Here's the RPR guide to a successful open house. There's lots of other open house collateral that you can take a look at. So lots of really cool information, and it's a great program. I really encourage you to go out to use it. Now, I want to show you where I'm going to put the webinar, because I know some of you may be asking that. If you go to my website, which is businesstechguy.com, businesstechguy.com, a box may pop up asking if you want to subscribe to my 2-minute tech tips. If you come down here to resources and you go over to RPR, resources, RPR, I'm going to post the webinar the very top from today. But I also have webinars. These are very current webinars. Getting started with RPR. If you're new to RPR, 10 ways to earn more business than your competition. Here's a session strictly on mobile, and this session will be posted right up here at the top. And of course, I'd love for you to sign up for my 2-minute tech tips. But You can also call me. My phone number's up here, and here's my email address. I am available to help you anytime. There's no charge unless you call me every day. Then we might have to talk. But if you need to call me, feel free to do so or send me an email. I'll be glad to reach back out to you. You've been a great group. Thank you so much. And I should very quickly see if we have a question that somebody might have answered. Is this going to be recorded? Yes, and I just showed you where to get that, Susan. Thank you. How did you change the RPR logo to Mayfield Real Estate? Great question. Thank you. And I mentioned that to everybody to be sure. And if you don't have that, let me go over here to Susan. If you come down here to blog at the very bottom, your broker needs to do this. You want to then go up here to where it says industry segments, and you would go to broker owners, and your broker needs to complete or enroll right here. And they'll get some other really cool tools they can use for their office, but that is free and there's no charge. So feel free to do that. Pam says she couldn't see anything. And sorry about that. Is that version of Snagit free? No, that is there's a small fee for that, Lisa, but it's really a good tool. Well, listen, thanks everyone for your kind comments. And I will, Alicia said she didn't see where the webinar would be. Alicia, if you go to businesstechguy.com, businesstechguy.com, I guess I left it's going to be under the resources tag. So BUSINESS, businesstechguy.com. Over on the left-hand side, Alicia, there is resources right here, and then you'll see RPR pop up once it's fully populates. So as you go over, come down to resources, you will see RPR will pop up as well. So I've got a little box that popped up. So go to resources and RPR. And right here, you will find where I will post the webinar. Thanks again. Hope everybody has a great day, and I hope you go out and list or sell something today. Talk to you soon, and reach out to me if you have any questions. Bye.